Let's talk meta, the shifting meta that is, and a bit about the banhammer. The inspiration for this episode of Shadespire Tactics is the second Grand Clash winning deck, or to be precise, the reactions to it. The deck featured an entirely non-aggressive playing style. After a couple of months with aggressive decks dominating the competitive scene, and most likely local gaming groups as well due to the straightforwardness of this playing style, this was definitely something new. To me, the release of the dwarves was the first sign of changes to come. People struggled to see their role in the game. Heavy hitting and tough as nails, but oh so very slow and hard to inspire. How would they ever make it into the fray? Then of course we turned to the objective game. Perhaps that would be the counter to the domination of aggro decks. An earthquake of course ruined that dream. With the release of the last two Cataphrane relics, we now have three solid ways to score glory points. By killing, by scoring objective cards, and with upgrades. Though upgrades may play a part in objective grabbing decks as well, and aggro decks of course too get glory from scoring objective cards. And like rock, paper, scissors, aggro is the obvious counter to objective grabbing, relics counter aggro, and objectives, or other backlining decks that don't require reaching your opponent, may counter relics. So why the fuss? Remember the outcry when Earthquake was released. It was the final blow to the objective grabbing decks. It was an auto-include, a meta killer, OP, and some gaming groups even banned it altogether. Now the non-aggressive playing style faces the same critique. Meta killer, boring, winning without playing the game. Playing the game. Let's just pause there. What is the game? From a warband perspective, the goal is survival, glorious killing, the hoarding of treasure, redemption of freedom. We have three types of cards, and in a perfect world none should be redundant. They should all work together in harmony, objectives, ploys and upgrades. And stats of course. Let's not forget about those. Inspire conditions, special rules and other trickery. There's a lot to take into consideration and no one way to play the game. Arguing that a playing style is boring to play against is fair, but it very much depends on the outlook. I for one find most aggro decks terribly boring. A bit like cheating really, easy mode. No finesse and very little interaction. Yes, I know that to some players interaction equals fighting. To me it means counting your opponent's moves, reactions, the adaptation of strategy, the synergy of cards. I like ploys that can be used in multiple situations, to buff, to counter, to set up or to distract. Constantly losing is boring, I get that. But what did we do when objective grabbing decks were outplayed? We evolved. And to counter a relic deck you need to do only one thing. Never let your opponent get all the relics in play. But what if you can't reach Steelheart? Well, if you like your dice you can include Shattershard or Frozen in Time. But you can also stop focusing on the relics and take a look at the rest of the deck. Because your opponent can't get glory from killing either. And a lot of those objective cards that are triggered by positioning or cards played, like Alone in the Darkness, Skirting Danger or Consecrated Area, can easily be countered if you foresee them. And cards like Bloodless and Sigmar's Bulwark can be countered with Shardgale, and so on. Without glory, no relics, and the game is yours. Please don't ban the relics. Don't protect the aggro decks just because you like the aggressive playing style. Your local meta will stall. And for a game like Shadespire, that's a death sentence. But then again, GW already did that for us, right? With the new beta rules, relics are history. Oh, but they are. I know GW stated that you would need to stop turtling and play more aggressively to make it work. But you now need 4 glory to get an effect at all, and 8 glory is needed for the card draw, which is more than often necessary to draw the remaining 2 relics. And of course 12 glory before you can start getting the 4 glory per activation. When did you last score 12 glory points by the end of round 2? With no help from upgrades, that is. Nah, relics are now an all eggs in one basket win more mechanic. It's dead, Jim. I've seen players argue that every release seems to one-up the past ones. That Orcs is a better Liberators and Magor are better Orcs. This may be true. But we still went full circle this first season of Warhammer Underworlds, and the Liberators ended up taking the second and third trophy home. All in all, GW did well, and made an all-rounded game. Yes, you need all the expansions, and yes, this makes it a quite expensive game, but one constantly evolving. Interestingly enough, only 4 players played Relics at the third Grand Clash. They did pick up first and second place, but perhaps the impact of the Relics has been overrated. Or perhaps the Shadespire community is all about friendly gaming and GW has failed at creating a truly competitive scene where players will play whatever's OP in the current meta. No matter what, Skaven scored third place. Congratulations to John Rees. Mother Nurgle out. Have a nice day.